I thought it would be really fun to have a lesson for how to do 1920s flapper eyes and eye makeups as its own lesson here on YouTube, and it goes along with my new book, which is Learn to Draw Art Deco Style. I am having so much fun with this book, so I'm gonna dive right into this project. We're gonna draw this in pencil, and I also have good tips on how to draw eyes that look symmetrical, and then we're gonna do this in watercolor markers. These are by Winsor Newton, but any brand will do. You know, Tombow, Ecolines, those are great brands as well. And also you can do this in watercolor pencil, you can do this in regular watercolors. It's just fun no matter how you slice it. So let's begin. We are going to do, so I'm using first of all Fabriano watercolor paper, and this is hot press, which means it's really smooth. So it's great for watercolor applications, but it's also great for drawing because it's so smooth. All right, so eyes are on eye width apart. So I'm going to make sure that when I'm starting, here I'll start with 3 ovals, because if I was doing a face, we would have 3 mooshed ovals. That's how I draw faces anyway, so that you always have the correct proportion between the eyes. It's like kind of everything right there. All right, so then already we're ready to kind of fine tune these eyeballs. So I'm going to start here at the lower end, and I'm going to bring the eye up like this. And a great way to get symmetrical is to do one line at a time and then keep swapping. So again, I'm going to start here and then I'm going to come up here. And guys, don't beat yourself up if you're not perfect. Eyes aren't perfect anyways, thankfully. I already noticed that I'm kind of close to the edge. This happens with me. I always draw super big. So I'm gonna make these a little bit smaller because I want to have big old lashes that I don't want them to have to go off the page, which always happens with me. So here, we'll start with our squish ovals right here. All right, now we can build these step by step. So I'm gonna start here on the lower line, and I'm going to kind of fine tune these one at a time. So again, I start on the lower line and I'm going to kick up here. Okay, now I'm going to bring this one in. This is the tear duct, and we're going to fling it across like this. So again, you do a little turn back here, and then you swing these around like this. All right, we're already ready to get rid of some of all these guidelines here. Erase, erase, erase. They look a little bit far apart, but that's okay. All right, so now we're gonna have our let's do some like big, crazy, bulbous eyelids, as I like to call them. Okay, we have this way. Again, I'm just doing whatever I do here, I just stop and do over here as well. Now there's what's called a wet line on the eye. And so when you're doing small scale drawings, you don't have to worry about that. But since these are big, it kind of is important. So you have 2 choices. You can either go inside and add a secondary line like this, or you can drop it outside as well. So, boop. And that's, again, called the wet line, or the lash line. Makeup artists call it the wet line. I'm not doing a good job of come around here. It's so awkward. The camera is in my way, so I have to kind of maneuver weirdly to get my camera shot. Okay, so there is the wet line on the bottom. Now, a super easy way to get really matching eyes too is to scale your pupils and irises using just a little template. These are gonna be like very drowsy looking 20s eyes. So I'm gonna actually have the iris resting on the lid line like this. So I'm using this one. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. So it's very hazy, like, hey, chump. Oh, don't even get me started. I will talk as if I'm the character the whole time. All right, I gotta keep myself in check. All right, now we're gonna do the pupil. So I'm gonna come in again. And notice I'm using a circle, but I'm making sure that parts of it are getting cut off. That's super important. Making it look more realistic. Okay, so now here we go. We have our eyeballs rocking, ready to go. Now is the fun part. So I'm gonna actually switch to fine liner. Doesn't really matter what brand or anything that you use. I'm gonna use a pretty thick one. This is a 0.7, just because I want a nice, you know, dramatic eyeball. That's what this is all about. I was just watching 90s 20 makeup tutorials on YouTube. They're just way too much fun. Okay, so I'm just going over my pencil lines with my fine liner. This is a Copic multi-liner. You can use whatever brand you want or whatever brand you have. Just the wet line. And the reason I'm making that wet line so obvious is that the 1920s they would actually use like a white pencil to highlight that area. Oh, I wish I hadn't come in right there. All right, and then we can also add a little line for the tear duct like that. Now the eyebrows are super weird. They started plucking for the first time in history. Women started plucking their eyebrows. It got super severe when they went into the 1930s, but the 1920s they is kind of what they started. So they started plucking, and they would have the highest part of their eyebrows, so you can line them up with the eyes, and then they would drag them down. Now in the 30s, they would like draw them way weirdly down like that. So I'm gonna do not so crazy like that. So they're almost like sort of this sad, dramatic affecting this look, which is, you know, it's so different than we have today. Right now that I'm filming this, it's 2020, and right now the in vogue eyebrow is like these giant hairy caterpillar eyebrows. That's what I like to call them. And you know, your eyebrows, like the bigger and the bushier the better, which is these people from the 30s would be dying laughing at us right now, and vice versa. So I think the history of eyebrows is super fascinating. All right, oh, I just smeared nice. All right, so we can get rid of our pencil lines, pretending that that wonky line doesn't exist. Okay, we erase all this. So fun, and now we're ready for the fun. So I have my mess of markers here, and I've got some new colors I'm very excited about. Phthalo blue. I haven't even used these yet. I always do green eyes, I'm such a nerd. But here, I'll do some blues today. I'll mix them together. So these are really water reactive if you're aware of these. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna start by putting some kind of marker strokes coming out from the eye like this. And then maybe what I'll do, because I'm crazy like this, maybe I will do some green. What color is this? Hooker's green. Oh, appropriate, because speaking of hookers, up until the 1920s, only hookers or streetwalkers or like big for performing movie stars were the only ones who were quote unquote, you know, it was only for them that it was socially acceptable to wear big dramatic eye makeup. And all these products were invented in the 1910s. So, or you know, what's a good way to say that? I don't even know. From 1910 to 1920, there were a lot of advancements in the makeup department. So like rouge and lipsticks and push-up lipsticks. And they had cake mascara for the first time. So it took about 10 years, but then it became very popular to start wearing them for the first time in history, that's pretty exciting. So yeah, everyone was kind of experimenting. So I'm just putting my brush in water to see about moving this ink around. Whoop, zooming in for ya. And oh, there's color on that one, so get rid of that. Get rid of that. Paintbrush. Trying to get one that's a little bit firmer. Just have to, I guess I'll just have to wash it out. That's annoying. So I'm just kind of blending these together, seeing what they do. They're not blending as much as I would have thought. Oh, it just means we'll have to go in for some more layers. All about the layers. All right, this one is blending more than the other side. Weird. All right, but you can get some really cool, you know, eyeball-y looks here. All right. Now, the only way that you can layer any wet medium is by drying between the layers. So I'm gonna dry this really quickly. All right, dry. I'm going in with another color because, you know, why not? This is phthalo green. And if you notice, I'm doing little like spokes on a wheel because that's kind of what makes up the shape of a real eyeball. And I'm gonna put a solid strip of this on the top. I'll zoom in so you can see that better on this one. Shoop. So watercolor markers are a really fun way to quickly color in your drawings. Okay, so we have a bunch like that. And again, I'm gonna take my water and I'm just gonna see about spreading that around. And I like watercolor markers too because you don't really need any special skills. You just need a wet brush and just moosh it. Moosh it however you feel. Going over to this one, mooshing it as well. Now for eye makeup, they would use these black grease pencils. They also had eyeshadow, and so it was very common for them to use eyeshadow colors that were the same colors as their eyes. So we could do green or we could do black, but I kind of like the black. It's like super edgy and daring. So just so happens I got a new black. Now I also have like a Payne's gray, which may be less severe looking. So maybe I will try that actually. And we're gonna do the lashes last in case you were wondering. So we have, now they used to put white pencil on the lash line, on the wet line. That's why I'm gonna actually go here. So they would actually apply makeup all the way around their eyes, like that. So I'm gonna apply it with my marker the same way I would apply my makeup. Okay, boo, boo, boo. This side is messy, that side is neat. It really doesn't matter. Now I'm gonna take my wet brush again, and I'm going to just run it along this line. That's what they would have done. Now I'm going to leave it white in the middle here. Take a little bit of paper towel and activate this. But then what I'll do is I'll pick it up so it doesn't get too dark there. Ooh, la la. I'll do this side. And I'm just running my brush over the areas of the marker, like pulling the ink out. Again, you can put it through the middle, but then you want to lift it All right, and then I'm gonna dry that layer. All right, now I'm going in with black because I just wanted to do that as like a test to kind of see what it looked like. And I'm gonna come down into this eye space a little bit more this time. Okay, this is again just black, coming into the eye space a little bit. I'm coming down, and I'm doing that intentionally because there's quite a bit of shadow in your regular eye. So I'm gonna bring this above. Oh yes, hello. I'm just dragging this out. And again, we can activate towards the middle, but then I wanna blot it so it's not in the center. Again, a very purposeful area. All right, and then also importantly, however, we need to come down in to the eye because there's actually like so little actual white space that's in the eye. Some more water. Again, we can activate, slide, get this, but then I want to make sure I pick up what's in the middle. I'm gonna run it on the inside again. More water when my brush runs out. Oh, I should have a white over here as well. You can keep activating these, which is a lovely feature. Okay. Oh la la, such a smoky eyeball. Okay, now let's color in the eyebrows. You can use your watercolor marker or you can just use, you know, a Sharpie or something. Color those in. So they're colored in. So fun. All right, so the eyebrows are colored in. Oh, we also need to color in the pupils, obviously. Okay. We need a little bit of pink for this part. And then we need some eyelashes. And I'm gonna show you my very, very special favorite pen for making eyelashes. This is called the Pentel Pocket Brush, and it's filled with lovely permanent India ink and has a beautiful brush tip, which is very awesome for making eyelashes. All right, now they had a lot of eyelashes back then. They were super down with their eyelashes. And by the way, we could actually make this even more dramatic if we want to. They really, really like went crazy with that whole smoky eye. So if you want to do more of this, you absolutely can. They really kind of did it up. So don't be afraid to do that yourself. So fun. This side. Oops, very juicy. Too juicy. And we have the middle. I guess I creates, the reason I keep doing that, I should have explained as I went, is it creates the look of a roundness. So this is the middle, it's coming towards you. So it would be, there's a natural highlight on it, is why. So it creates the look of a roundness. So, oh my gosh, be my funnest project yet of the whole book. Although I don't know, drawing those ladies, full figures, is very fun as well. All right, we are only 2 steps from being done. So I'm gonna take my Pentel pocket brush. You can also use, these are brush nib as well. So you can just use that to do your eyelashes as well. I just love this pocket nib. So eyelashes have very specific directions. Just know that in the center, they go straight up and then they go different directions either side. And I think of it like a parentheses. So they're like on either side. The parentheses are like this. Excuse me. Here's your parentheses, and then in the middle, it's this. Same thing with the lower lash. Okay, there's your eye. The middle, it goes straight up, parentheses, parentheses. So that's the direction that you need to be wary of when you're doing these. So the out ones, right, go this way. So in the middle, they're gonna go straight up. And all the ones to this side go this way. And I'm starting at the base and I'm flicking up. Then I get here and they go up and then they switch directions. Okay, and then at the bottom, it's the same thing. In the middle, they go straight. So we have our parentheses on either side. And if you notice, I'm starting at the base every time, switch. And by the way, I have cheat sheets for how to draw eyelashes as well as where to put the facial features in your faces. So if you need either of those resources, please let me know in the comments section below and I will drop you a link that leads to both of them. Okay, and then we can do this side as well. We're gonna go parentheses, middle straight up and down, fill them in. It's just a flick. I'm putting all the pressure at the base and then I'm flicking that upwards. Oh, I like it just on the top actually. That looks so good. And then maybe there's just less going on the bottom, little ones. So you can change up if you want a little or a lot. I guess they should match though. Okay, and then the last thing we need to do, and by the way, if you're ever trying to even up your eyes, this is a great time to do that. You can always lower a lash. Like this one is lower than this one. So a way to correct that would just be to bring this one down further. Quick and easy, little cheat there. Coming down here, oops. So the next thing we need to do is we need to get some white highlights going on in there. And you have a lot of options. You have, paint pens are great. You have paint markers. I like using this. This is like a super or opaque white that Copic makes, but you can also just use white acrylic paint if you want to. I need to stir this up. I never stir it and I always need to. Then I can just take the back of my paintbrush and simply make a little mark like this and a little mark like this. And maybe there's another one, there's another one. Oh, you're supposed to have them in the same places, not like what I just did. You know, and you can have kind of as many or as little as you like. So that is the 1920s eye makeup painting tutorial. And I hope you enjoy the book. Thanks for watching. Hope you had fun.